My mom told me never to ask about my dad. My mom never got emotional about it. That's what made it worse. She didn't avoid the topic like it hurt her. She didn't change the subject or pretend she didn't hear me. The first time I asked about my dad, she just looked at me calmly. "Don't ask about him," she said. No hesitation, no explanation, just that. I remember waiting for more, for her to add something, anything that would make it sound like a normal answer. But she didn't. She just went back to what she was doing, like the conversation was over, like it wasn't even a conversation. I thought maybe she didn't understand me. So I tried again later that night, more direct this time. "Where is he?" She stopped. Not immediately, just for a second. Then she slowly turned her head toward me, and for the first time, something in her expression felt off, not sad, not angry, careful. "If you keep asking about him," she said quietly, "he might remember you." I didn't understand what that meant, but I never asked again. At least, not out loud. There was nothing of him in the house. Not a single photo. Not a frame turned face down. Not a hidden box in the attic. Nothing tucked away in drawers or closets. It wasn't like he had been erased. It was like he had never existed in the first place. As a kid, I didn't question it right away. You don't notice what's missing until you learn what's supposed to be there. But once I did, I couldn't stop seeing it. Other kids had pictures, birthdays, family trips, fathers standing awkwardly behind cakes or smiling too wide in old photographs. We had none of that. Even official things felt wrong. At school, when they asked about my dad, my mom had already filled out the forms. There was just a blank space where his name should have been. No explanation. No unknown. Just empty. One night, I went looking. I checked drawers, old boxes, cabinets she never opened. Nothing. No letters. No documents. No trace of a life that should have been there. That's when it started to feel less like absence and more like something had been carefully removed, not hidden. Removed. Like someone had made sure there was nothing left to find. I realized something was wrong with my memories long before I understood why. I could remember him. That's the strange part, not clearly. Not like you remember a face or a photograph, but in fragments, pieces that didn't fit together. A hand resting on my shoulder, a voice calling my name from another room, the feeling of someone taller standing behind me. But every time I tried to focus on his face, it slipped, like trying to recall a dream just after waking up. You know it was there. You can almost see it. But the moment you try to hold on to it, it dissolves. I even tried drawing him once. I sat at my desk for over an hour, sketching what I thought I remembered. The outline came easily. The height, the posture, the way he stood slightly turned. But when I reached the face, I stopped. My hand wouldn't move. It wasn't that I couldn't remember it. It felt like I wasn't allowed to. And that thought stayed with me long after I put the pencil down. What if it's not that I forgot his face? What if something is stopping me from seeing it? I tried asking someone else. Not directly. Not at first. I brought it up casually, like it didn't matter. A comment here, a question there. testing reactions without making it obvious. My dad used to. I started once talking to a neighbor who had known us for years. She didn't let me finish. Her smile froze for a split second. Then she laughed it off too quickly. "You mean your mom?" she said, correcting me without actually looking at me. I didn't argue. I just nodded. But something about that moment stuck. So I tried again, this time at school. A teacher, someone who had known me since I was a kid. "Do you remember my dad?" I asked. She blinked, confused, not pretending, actually confused. "You don't have a father listed in your records," she said slowly. "It's always just been your mother." Always. That word didn't sit right. I stopped asking after that. Because it wasn't just that people didn't want to answer. It was worse. They acted like the question itself didn't make sense. Like I was asking about someone who had never existed. And for the first time, I started wondering, was I the only one who remembered him at all? It started at night. At first, it was easy to ignore. Just small noises, the kind every house makes when everything is quiet. A creak in the floor, a soft shift in the walls, pipes settling somewhere behind the silence. Normal, that's what I told myself. But then the sounds became specific. Footsteps, not loud, not heavy, just enough to be unmistakable. Slow, measured steps moving somewhere outside my room. Always at the same time, always following the same path. From the hallway toward the kitchen. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling and listening, counting them. 1, 2, 3, and then nothing. The first time I got up to check, the house was empty. Lights off, doors closed, nothing out of place. The second night, I didn't get up. I just listened. Because something about those footsteps felt wrong. Not because they were there, but because they felt familiar. Like I had heard them before. A long time ago. And the more I listened, the clearer that feeling became. This wasn't something new. Whatever was walking through the house at night had been here before. I just wasn't supposed to notice it. I noticed it in the mirror. Not at first. Not clearly. Just a flicker. Something in the background that didn't match the room. I was brushing my teeth when it happened, staring at my own reflection, half asleep, not really paying attention. Then something shifted. Behind me. I stopped. Slowly, I looked up at the mirror again. The bathroom was exactly as it should be. Same sink, same light, same narrow doorway leading into the hallway. But for a split second, I thought I saw someone standing there. Tall, still, right behind me. I turned immediately. Nothing. The hallway was empty. I told myself it was the light, the angle, my eyes adjusting. That's all it takes sometimes. Just a shadow in the wrong place. But the feeling didn't leave. Because when I looked back into the mirror, for just a moment, the space behind me looked occupied, not fully visible, not clear, but not empty neither. And what unsettled me the most wasn't that something was there. It was this. It wasn't looking at me. It was looking at the mirror. I found the camera by accident. It was buried in the back of a drawer I had already checked before, one I was sure had been empty. But this time, it was there. An old handheld camcorder, dusty but intact, like it had been placed there recently, or like I had simply never noticed it before. That alone felt wrong. I charged it. There was only one video on it, no date, no label, just a single recording. When I pressed play, the screen flickered for a second before the image stabilized. It was our house, the living room. And there I was, smaller, maybe 5 or 6 years old, sitting on the floor. I felt my stomach drop because I didn't remember this. Then someone walked into the frame. A man, tall, familiar posture, the same presence I had tried to recall so many times. My dad. I leaned closer to the screen, trying to see his face, but as soon as I did, the image glitched. Not randomly, specifically, right where his face should have been. And that's when I realized something that made my chest tighten. The camera could record him, but it still couldn't show him. I showed her the recording. I didn't say anything at first. I just placed the camcorder on the table and pressed play. My hands felt unsteady, but I didn't look at her. I kept my eyes on the screen, watching it again, as if something might change this time. It didn't. The same scene, the same movement, the same glitch where his face should have been. When it ended, the room went quiet. Too quiet. I finally looked up. She wasn't watching the screen anymore. She was looking at me. And for the first time in my life, I saw fear on her face. Not sadness, not anger, fear. You weren't supposed to find that, she said. Her voice was lower than usual, tighter, like she was trying to keep something under control. Who is he? I asked. The question felt heavier now, wrong in a way I couldn't explain. She shook her head immediately. No, don't ask that. Why not? She stepped closer, her expression changing, more urgent now. Because if you keep asking, she said quietly, he'll start remembering you again. The words landed harder this time, because now I had proof he existed. And something told me that was exactly the problem. I didn't stop after that. I couldn't. Once you know something is wrong, you don't go back to pretending everything is normal. You start looking closer, listening harder, not for answers, but for confirmation. And I found it. Not in the house, in myself. It started with small things, moments where I'd forget what I was doing mid-sentence, words slipping away just as I was about to say them, names I knew, suddenly feeling unfamiliar. Then it got worse. One night, I caught myself standing in the hallway, staring at nothing. No, not nothing. At a spot in the air, like someone was there. And for a second, I almost spoke. Like I knew who I was looking at. Like I had done it before. And that's when I remembered what she said. He'll start remembering you. I always thought she meant him. But now, I wasn't so sure. Because the more I tried to remember my dad, the more it felt like something else was trying to remember me. It happened in the mirror. Not suddenly, not dramatically, just a moment that felt slightly wrong. I was standing in the hallway, staring at my reflection from across the room. The light behind me was dim, barely reaching the glass. My face looked the same as always, tired, confused, searching for something I couldn't define. Then something shifted behind me. I didn't turn. I didn't need to. I saw it clearly in the reflection. A figure. standing just over my shoulder, tall, still, exactly where it had always been in my memories. For the first time, I could see his face, but not fully. Not perfectly, but enough. Enough to understand why I could never remember it before. Because it wasn't unfamiliar. It was wrong. Familiar in a way that made my chest tighten, like recognizing something you were never supposed to see. Then it leaned closer, slowly. And in the reflection, I saw its expression change, not into something angry, but something that almost looked like relief. And then it spoke, not to scare me, not to threaten me, but quietly, like it had been waiting for this moment. So, you finally remember me.